99.9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, so the time here in SPG, it is 8:13, and we are back with another commentary segment on today's Activated Mornings program. In studio, you have Dianna, Cain, and myself, Roleza Samuel, and we are your hosts for this morning. A hostess has a different meaning. Your host, all right? Hostesses would have a different meaning. Host.
We could just make up a word and say
right, so,
hostess.
Excuse? Not on your radio station, please. All right. So, yes, we are here with you today. Let me just big up is George at Heritage Square, George Bar. I was told that every morning, or just about every morning, that they normally have us on amplified.
Wonderful.
All right. So, good morning to all those first. Good morning to George himself. Good morning to anybody who might be there at the bar at this time or passing by. Good morning to all of you. All right. And we know that we normally have some usual suspects. Big up everybody, right? Usual suspects. Good morning to all of you. All right. So we are going to head into some news, some stories at this time, just to touch on them, just to keep persons informed in case you were not aware. So we just want to touch on a few at this time.
All right. So in the first story, an arrest was made in Chateaubelair. So the police conducted a raid in Chateaubelair as part of their fight against illegal drug trafficking and firearm possession. And 2 persons were arrested. So 2 young men from Chateaubelair were arrested for several things. So they had an unlicensed firearm. They had a quantity of cannabis and a couple thousand EC dollars in their possession, which the police linked to criminal activities. According to a statement from the police, the arrest took place on Sunday, so Sunday gone, January 26th, when the officers executed a search warrant at a property in Sharps, Chateaubelair. They recovered a 12-gauge shotgun that they confirmed to be functional, 26,786 grams of cannabis. They also charged one for having 454 grams of cannabis. I think this is a different person, though. They charged this person for having
2 brothers.
I just realized something. Okay. Yes. So one was charged separately for having 454 grams of cannabis, and the officers also took 27,657 EC dollars, and that consisted of 9,500 EC and 6,700 euros, which they of course said they are linking to drug trafficking and money laundering. So these are the conditions. The accused, they appeared before the serious offenses court. They pled. Well, one of them pleaded guilty to possession of the 400 and something grams of cannabis, and he was granted 15,000 EC dollars bail. He must report to the Chateaubelair police station every Monday between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. He has to surrender all his travel documents. Stop notices have been placed at all ports of entry and exit, and his case has been adjourned to next month, the 25th. Right?
All right. So that is story number 1. All right, and we continue to see that the police are making strides in terms of taking more guns off of our streets, out of our communities, and by extension, this was also illegal. Illegal marijuana, right? Marijuana as well. All right, so yes, so that was story number 1.
Story number 2. Well, and this is different. This has nothing to do with drugs, money laundering, drug trafficking, or anything like that. But I don't know if you have noticed recently, we've been having a lot of plane issues. Like if you've been following the news, there's.
Well, when you say a lot, it make it sound like it's
Okay.
like plenty. It's
one is too much for me.
all right. So we've had several.
Yes, let's say several, more than we would like. So that they started since last year into this year. We've been seeing some issues with planes regionally and internationally. Now we're going to look at some regionally. So a Caribbean Airlines flight flying from Tobago to Trinidad suffered an engine failure on Monday night while operating its final flight for the day.
All right.
Sorry. So in a video that was posted to social media, the cabin crew could be heard instructing the passengers to brace, brace, brace as the aircraft prepared to land. Listen to me. I'm imagining myself being in that plane. I probably would have wet myself. Brace, brace, brace as the aircraft prepared to land. It landed safely at 10:05 and it has since been removed from service for inspection. So that's one of the plane issues.
All right. So one of the things that happened here is engine number 1 had failed, prompting the pilot to declare mayday to citing engine failure. All right. So that was the reason for that particular incident or that particular situation. So the plane has actually been removed from service for further inspection. Okay. And just a note, engine failure can happen as a consequence of mechanical issues such as oil leak or external factors like bird strike. It can also happen when the aircraft's power levels drop rapidly and the master warning lights up, accompanied by a warning sound. All right. So that is what happened in that particular situation. But of course, we are happy that they were able to safely land and we did not have anything catastrophic happening. So it's a short flight between Tobago and Trinidad, but still things can happen in a very, very short time. So we're happy that everything went well in terms of there being a safe landing for this particular plane.
It's a good thing it was just from Tobago to Trinidad and not somewhere a bit further.
Yeah.
Right? These things get me scared. I don't like planes, but anyways.
And she will travel the world, but anyhow, you will catch up.
van.
You will catch a steamboat. Catch a steamboat like they did back in the olden days.
I'm even more afraid of the sea, but okay.
All right.
Right. So in another plane incident, now this one is a bit more unfortunate. So there was a plane that went missing. Let me start from here. Anyways, so search and rescue crews have discovered the wreckage of the airliner that went missing over Dominica on Sunday. It was positioned on a high, difficult to access mountainside about 3 kilometers west of La Plaine. Authorities report that there were no signs of life near the crash scene. The 20-year-old pilot is reported to have been on board along with 3 other Martinicans. The airplane had been missing since Sunday. It took off from Douglas Charles Airport just before 4 p.m. for Martinique. Air traffic controllers lost contact with the aircraft near the southeastern town of La Plaine. The aircraft's owner informed French radio that it was well equipped. He speculated that unfavorable weather conditions in Dominica may have contributed to the disaster, and search and rescue activities are expected or were expected to continue yesterday, Tuesday. So this one is a bit more unfortunate. Plane went down with 4 people, 3 passengers and the pilot, and no signs of life were seen near where it was found.
I think what is interesting from this story is the age of the pilot for me, though.
Yes,
the pilot is only 20 years, right? And it makes me wonder how much flying experience he had. Now, yes, I know that you have to have a certain amount of hours, past a certain amount of hours to fly certain planes. But I still think that at 20, I mean, yes, at any age you can do anything. Well, not really at any age, but 20 years is not necessarily too young for you to be certified or qualified or trained in certain things. But still kind of young for me, right? And I'm not quite sure if I would be so comfortable knowing that I'm going with a pilot who is 20, right? But Cessna is a small plane, so this one is one of those unfortunate situations.
Somebody, before you go, somebody is saying here, how is it that you never hear about all of the planes that land safely and they're never reported, but then if you have one engine failure, it makes the headlines?
Which is true. But I think that maybe you don't necessarily want to be reporting every time that there's an incident with a plane. You don't want for it to reach in the news, because maybe for people like Dianna, they just may not want to fly. They just may not want to fly. But, they always say that the possibility of something going wrong in the air, there's a greater possibility of something going wrong on land, or you get in a vehicular accident, as opposed to something happening in a plane. So
I don't mind. I'm a land
take your
animal.
chances. Yeah, I had to take your chances. Might have. But there was a story some years ago of a pilot who was able to land a plane in I think it was the Hudson River.
Yeah, and they made a movie out of it.
And they made a movie out of it. So, there are heroic stories. All right. So let's call before we head on out. They made a movie out of it. So, there are
Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning,
You can hear
my
me on your
lovely
radio.
lady.
Morning, Dave. How are you?
Well, good to hear you guys. Stimulating the morning, stimulating me as well. Yeah, I didn't pick up the story from early. But I don't know if you guys know of the story I think it was in 1963, subject to correction. I have two books on that. When a plane crashed in the Andes, in the Andean mountains and so on, where the temperature was,
Freezing.
of course, freezing. They landed in ice and snow and all of that. And because of where that plane crashed, where that plane landed, they knew the plane had crashed, but is to get to the site at the time. The technology wasn't like now. And that's why I hate when you have some politicians talking nonsense. We go through different generations, we go through different years and so on. We never had, how long since this gadget that we use in, you call it your cell or whatever, how long since that come into operation? So I say that because different generations will have to experience different things. But coming back to the real life, the story I wanted to tell you, after that plane had crashed in South America, there in the Andes and so on, it reached a point where they couldn't find them. A lot of search went on, I was a youngster, and I remember that very well. I was a youngster. Until eventually, when they were starving, you know what they had to do?
Eat
Those who survived.
Eat the dead ones.
Cannibals. Became cannibals.
I
Yeah.
think they made a movie out of that,
Yeah, I saw the documentary on it.
recently watched
Yeah.
a movie.
Well, I never lucky, but I bought two of those. I had 2 copies of those books and so on, and I read them. I used to read. I read both copies and so on. So all of that is a lesson to us. Yeah, I have become really, really maybe more philosophical in my life now. I don't look at cheapness. I hear you always on a story there with woman, and most of the time you hear a man get in the plane, but woman got a fall too. Huh? How could I live with a woman only to find out that she making a fool or whatever of me, making me look like a dotish man?
Everybody plays a fool. There's no
Giving me picking
exception
about.
to the rule.
Huh? I hope. Well, I hear singers. I hope. I'm just trying to rub this in because sometimes men get all the blame, and women for a long time looked upon as innocent
Dave,
people.
may I ask you a question?
Ask me anything.
Women, what topic specifically are you talking about when you say men get all the blame? You speaking generally, or is there a specific? subject.
There are many specifics. But me going to tell nobody's story, but I am aware of many stories.
Tell me your story, Dave. Tell me your
My
story.
story?
I want to know.
No, not this morning. Not this morning. Not joking. Not joking.
Wait a minute. No, I could tell you just something short I want to say. I remember Christian asked a question one time about me. How come I ain't married? You know, there's a saying. As I remember that she asked me why. How come? By the way, how come you ain't married? You know, and there was a simple saying: "Married got plenty foreign." I don't know if the export there could tell me what I mean.
No, I want to hear your story. I can tell you what I mean after. I want to hear your story. I want to hear Dave's story.
No, Dianna, I have plenty stories. You'd be frightened if I were to reveal my stories.
Frightened?
And I find, huh?
I tough enough.
No, I'm just telling you. You wouldn't believe you.
All right.
But I just want the simple message I want to get across is that all of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. That's one of my. That's the best quotation maybe from the Bible for me.
You're sounding like your story spicy.
All right, Dave. All
right. Thank you. We got to sit down over. We'll sit down and talk about it sometime in the future before we both leave this earth, or all three of us.
If I want my feet, I will prove certain things to you guys.
All right,
if
Dave,
I want my feet,
Dave, thank you so much for calling. We're gonna head out of this talk segment at this time. Thank you for your call.
You're laughing out? Who you laughing out to me?
No, we gotta go. So that's
all right. Take care.
Yeah,
I got a message.
All right.
All right. So yes, that was Dave. Yeah. But one of the things. All right, let's take this call quick before we head on out. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yes, you're talking about plane crash. You guys ever heard about the 13 people that perished between St. Vincent, I believe, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Barbados, something like that. Between St. Vincent and Barbados, a Liat plane.
Was it St. Lucia or Dominica?
I can't remember.
Then in is it the 80s, I think?
86.
Yeah, with
86.
Donna Young. Let me see.
There's another one.
Yeah, Donna Young, the former foreign minister, Hudson Tanis, his wife and son, 13 people, yeah. So next year, it's going to be 40 years since that happened in 1986.
Okay.
So
try to pull that up to see.
All right, bye.
All right, no problem.
Wait, Queens?
Yeah.
I know of one. When I was in high school, a friend of mine, her father, his plane went down. His son was Gonzalez. Him and I think he had one other person on board with him. They were never found. Their plane was never found. I know of that one.
Yeah, well, we had there was, I think, a flight between, was it Mustique and St. Vincent that went down. Yeah. All right.
I ain't sure about that one that Queen just mentioned.
I knew of this one, but I was trying to see exactly where it is that the plane is believed to have gone on. The story is here, but I have to read through it. I can't find it quickly at a first glance. Okay. But that story is there. One of the things I just wanted to ask though before we head on out is, when we take catching flights, right? How many of us actually pay attention to the instructions given by the air hostess, air host? No, because that they're always doing the demonstrations, right? To tell you where to go, where the planes, the windows are, where the exit is. We just move our hands up and down. We just kind of quote unquote not mocking, but just imitating what they do. But how many of us actually pay attention?
Dianna, Cain, I do.
You do? Listen to me.
Please.
If I have ever paid attention
Every single time.
I cannot. I would be lying. I have never paid full attention to what it is they're doing because I just always be finding something else to do. I just say my prayers, sit down in my seat and pray for the best, But these are things that we do need to know where it is that there's a thing that is always says under the seat. You see that tell you already, don't pay attention.
Jacket is under the seat in case of something with the air, some compression drops. The thing will drop from above.
Right.
You put it over your face and you just breathe in. Okay, your nearest exit may be at the front or at the back. If you're sitting next to an exit, they may ask you to help other passengers. So if you're not gonna do that, then you could change your seat. Listen to me.
She pays attention.
I think I'm joking. I have my plan in my head. I was saying, like, okay, so if this happens, what? Listen, when I watch the movies, I just be paying close attention. I have my plan in my head.
You know what's funny? One time, so I actually sat down by that emergency seat. So the person asked me, if something happened, would I be willing to assist? And I'm like, okay, yeah. Knowing fully well that I am not even physically capable of doing many things, right? But I said yes because I just want, to go where I'm going. But to bring it back to being serious, yes, we really should pay attention to these things because we just never know. All it takes is just one situation, a minute for something to go wrong, and we need to be alert, all right? So we really and truly don't want to have anything serious happening here, especially, anywhere in the world, right? But particularly within the Caribbean, because we do have a relatively good track record in terms of flights landing safely and taking off safely, etc. So we want for that track record to continue to happen. But as passengers, we also need to pay attention. All right. So
Roleza,
big up people like Dianna. All right.
I tell you, I afraid them things. I'm not joking. Listen, you talk about our good track record here. You know, we usually talk about the Barbados immigration and how they're real serious. But when I listen to all these the things that the plane is, I say, you know what? I'm actually glad that they're taking their jobs very seriously because it is a very serious job. Making sure that the planes land properly, making sure you check what you need to check, making sure what ain't supposed to come through ain't come through. I'm actually really glad that they kind of have some attitude on the ready and they could be real mean, but I like that they're taking their job very seriously.
Okay. So someone is saying that plane went down between Beckery and St. Vincent. I guess it was the last story that the last one I spoke about. So okay, thanks for the correction. All right. So we are going to head on out at this time and be back with more Activated Mornings here on